Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. My name is ThaTimster. Today I'm going to be showing you how to add bullet cartridges in the Blender game engine. So right here I have a small example, and when we hold down the trigger it shoots out bullet cartridges, which look really nice and they look like they interact with each other. So what you might have done before is just actually fully modeled out a bullet cartridge and have them being spat out the side. But what we're going to be doing today is we're just going to be using cycles to render out some nice looking bullets, and yeah, then we're going to use those as just planes, and then we're going to put them in like so, and there you go, you'll have bullets coming out the side, and then you can also like adjust how far they go and stuff like that. And right now if I say press Z to go into wireframe and we press P, you can see it's very low resolution. There's not a lot going on, and it's fairly performance friendly. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So the first thing we're going to do is open up a new blend file. The first thing I'm going to do is go up the top here and select Cycles Render. Then I'm going to go across and select GPU Compute. If you don't have that option, that's fine. Under sampling, I'm going to select 30. You can turn that up or down if you want. And then next thing I'm going to do is press X and delete this cube. Then I'm going to press Shift A and add a cylinder. Then I'm going to press RX90 to rotate it. And then I'm going to press SY and scale it along the Y axis. So something like that. Then on this end, I'm going to go into face select mode, select the face, press X and delete faces. Then I'm going to go back into vertices select mode, press B to box select, drag it over this end, and then press E to extrude and Y to extrude it along the Y axis. Then I'm going to press S to scale, and I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. So this is sort of the bullet cartridge, and the bullets come out the front here. So now we'll do the back. Go into face select mode, select the face on this end, press X to delete faces. Then I'm going to go into vertices select mode, press B and select all the vertices around there. Then I'm going to press E to extrude and S, and going to make it smaller. Then I'm going to press E again and S, and then GY, drag it back a bit, press E again to extrude, and then S to scale, move it in, and then GY, move it out. And we want it to line up with the side here, so not quite that far. And then I'm going to press F to make a face and sort of seal it off. Then I'm going to press Tab to go into edit mode, and press Z to go into wireframe and select all the faces here. And I'm going to select smooth. Be careful not to select the faces here, the flat ones, just the ones with bumps. So we want these ones in here as well. So I'm going to press C or B, whatever way you want to select them, and we're going to select all the middle ones, and not that one. And then I'm going to select smooth as well. So just that the rough parts that would have sort of stood out are now smoothed out. Next thing I'm going to do is press 1 on the numpad and then press Ctrl Alt 0 to go into camera view. Then I'm going to move the camera around here a bit, then Shift F and scroll out to move away, GZ to move the camera up, and we sort of want the bullet a bit smaller, so something like this. And then I'm going to press RZ, I'll rotate it this way, and then RX, and maybe something like that in the middle here. Then we'll get our lighting sorted, so we're going to select our lamp here, I'm going to change it to sun, use nodes, and I'm going to rotate it towards the bullet, so something like that. Maybe RY a bit, and RZ. Then I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate, and then GX, and click and select point lamp. This is just for the other side, so down the bottom here somewhere, and that is going to have a strength of 300, or maybe even 200. Okay, so now our bullet here needs a material, so into the materials tab, we're going to click new, select anisotrophic, and we're going to make it a golden color, so something like that. Turn up the roughness to around 1, can also turn up the anisotropy value, and you can put on rotation if you want. Maybe we'll just see how that works. So now I'm going to press F12 to render, and something like that looks very nice. Might turn down the roughness a bit, and there we go. Now what we might want to do is get some sort of blur from the bullet moving. So what I'm going to do is open up a window here on the side. It's going to be node editor. I'm going to press N to get rid of that window, make it a bit bigger here. Then I'm going to go into the scene, click use nodes, and before we do anything else, up the top here under scene, we're going to select passes and make sure vector is selected. So this allows us to do like blur and stuff, motion blur. So then I'm going to press Shift A, and I'm going to add myself a vector blur thing. Then I'm going to click and add it in. Join the speed to the speed, join the Z to the Z. That should blur it out. But it's not moving at the moment, so we need to get this bullet to move. So we're going to go to frame 0 here, drag the bullet over here, and maybe down a bit as well. And then I'm going to press I, insert location. Then I'm going to go to frame 20, or even, yeah, maybe frame 15. And I'm going to move it up here. So it goes like that, and moves fairly fast. So we can render it out around frame 7. If we press F12, we'll render it, and it'll give us a nice sort of motion blur. So if you want that to be a bit more sort of obvious, we can obviously turn it up to something like 2, and yeah, you sort of get different results. So the first thing we need to do is go into the render settings and turn that up to full. You can turn up the samples again if you want to, but we need to, under film, select transparent, and then under here, under the output, we need to select RGBA, and you can turn up the compression if you want. So I'm going to choose 1024 by 1024. It'll give us a bit more of a square. I'm going to move it in a bit, and you want to sort of know which frame you want to do it on, so maybe frame 7, and I'm going to adjust the camera around that. And we want, yeah, as much bullet in the image as possible, but you want to make sure there's clear edges around the outside. Okay, so I think something like that should be good. Then I'm going to select my output, so I'm just going to make this my desktop, and it's just going to be called bullet cartridge. And then I'm going to click accept, and down here I'm going to start at frame 7, end at frame 7, and there we go. You can also turn up the samples a bit, maybe 64, and then we can click render animation. It will render our bullet for us, and there we go, nice and blurred. If that's too blurry for you, we can obviously turn that down. I'm going to turn my one down to 0.6, just so it's a bit more recognizable. I think something like that looks good, so I'm going to click render animation again, just to overwrite the previous file. You don't need blur if you don't want it, but yeah, up to you. Then once you're happy with that, we can close that window, press escape to go back into 3D. And now what we want to do is we want to change the rotation of this. So maybe RX, and we want a different sort of bullet pose. So maybe something coming from the opposite angle here. Maybe we might even make it upside down as well. So something like that. And again, adjust the camera around it. And make sure you change the name, otherwise it will just overwrite the file. So maybe this can be bullet cartridge 2. Then click accept and render animation. It's going to render it out for us, and you'll notice it's in the corners, so we aren't getting the proper blurring. So move the camera, get it in the center, do it again, render animation, and wait for it, and there we go. So I'm not exactly happy with the lighting, so I'm going to go back into rendered view and move it around till I have something I like. So I think something like that might work a bit better. So I'm going to select my camera here and we're going to get a good view, something like that. Then I'm going to click render animation. It's going to render it out for us and put some blur on it. And there we go. So I'm happy with that one. Now we're going to do it one more time for a third cartridge. So back into solid view, then we're going to select this, press RZ, and now we need one that is different to this position and different to the other position. So maybe something along the lines of this could work. I'll just check it in rendered view, and yeah, I think that should work fine. I'm going to go here into solid view, then I'm going to change the name to bullet cartridge 3 for the last one, and click render animation. And hopefully if we, oh, we're going to have to adjust the camera again, keep forgetting about that. So it's in the center, click render animation, once you've changed the name of course, and there we go. So I think that's good. If you want to, you can do more. You can definitely, yeah, feel free to do more. The more you have, the more variation, the better it looks. Now we can click, if you want to save that, feel free to do so. I'm going to click File New to open up a new startup file. Then I'm going to press Shift A, I'm going to add a plane, press S to scale it, and it's going to just be our floor. Then I'm going to add my FPS setup, so this will be in the description again if you guys want to have it. So yeah, I'm going to select body, camera, feet, and head. Link those all in. Then we can delete this camera. Go change this to Blender Game. Then select GLSL. Frame rate of 60. Again, hopefully you're just doing this to games you've already made, so you're just adding this into the gun. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press 0, and I'm going to quickly make myself a weapon. And I'm going to press 0, and I'm going to select textured, so we can see what we're doing, and maybe we'll move it somewhere here. Then select the head and press Ctrl P, parent to object, and there we go. That should be fine. We can call this gun if you want. And I'm just going to pretend I already have bullets firing out of it, and I just need the cartridge spawner. So I'm going to press Shift A. I'm going to add another cube, and this is going to be the thing that spawns all the cartridges in. So I'm going to press S to make it smaller. Obviously it needs to be on this side. You can actually put it on, yeah, whatever side is relative to the weapon. Then I'm going to press S again. We want it sort of nice and small. And it doesn't matter if it's sort of in the weapon a bit, because the object spawned where that yellow dot is in the middle. So that needs to be fairly close to the weapon anyway. Along here in the physics tab, we're going to select no collision and invisible. Then we're going to go to layer 2, and we're going to add our cartridges. So Shift A, add a plane. Then we're going to make sure it's no collision, and I'm going to go to the materials tab here, click new, and we'll call it bullet 1 as well. Then I'm going to turn the specular off. No back facing, although it shouldn't really matter. You should be able to have it on. Then I'm going to select alpha clip. You don't have to have that. You can select opaque if you want to. I'm going to turn transparency on, alpha to nothing. Then we're going to give it a new texture, image or movie, UV. Make sure you select the alpha channel here. And we're going to click open, and we're going to go where we rented out our pictures. So here, first one, bullet 1. We're going to click open. Then in our window here, we're going to press tab U unwrap to unwrap the plane. There we go, that's the first cartridge in. If you want to, you can select shadeless to make them look a bit better, or you can make them sort of relative to the lighting in your scene. So whatever you think will work best. I'm just going to leave it off. Then I'm going to press Shift D, G, Y to make another plane, but this time I'm going to select the 2 in the material. Then in the texture, I'm going to select the 2 again, and then I'm going to click open, go to desktop, and I'm going to select my second bullet cartridge. So that was this one. well, it's one of them, doesn't matter what order they're in. So this one here, and all those settings seem fine. Then I'm going to press Shift D, G, Y one last time. Then make sure you go into the material, select the number 2, go to the texture, select the number 2, and then open up the images again. Otherwise you'll have all the images will change at the same time. Okay, so I don't think we have had this one, so we'll do that, and there we go. So I'm going to select shadeless for this one, just so we can sort of see the differences. So now we need to go into the physics here, and actually from no collision we want them to be dynamic, so they're falling down. And they can be an actor and a ghost. They don't actually need to be an actor, so just a ghost, and those should be fine. So make sure they're all set to dynamic and ghost, like so. And there we go, all those 3 done. Now we'll go to layer 1 here and select our spawner. Then we're going to go to game logic, and you can call it spawner if you like, or cartridge spawner. And we're going to add a mouse sensor. Now usually if you have sort of shooting already going, you'd just use something from this already. So say I had an animation for my gun which was coming off from a mouse sensor, then I'd just join it up to that, but I don't, so I'm just going to be using this. And hopefully if it's fully automatic you set it on true, and you have a frequency of maybe, well, 2 at the very least, but maybe 3 or 4. So you set that up so it's the same time as when the bullets are getting shot at. Then we're also going to select random, and we're going to join those 2 up. Now it doesn't have a property yet, so we need to add a game property, and this can just be called cartridge, just anything really. I'm going to select integer, and then under here I'm going to select integer uniform, select the property. It's going to be a minimum of 0, and actually a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 3. Then just turn up the seed. Something past 100 usually works well, so maybe just something like that. Then we'll minimize all those, and I'm going to add an edit object. In fact, I'm going to add 3 of them, and the first one is going to be for bullet 1, so just the original bullet, then bullet number .01, then bullet .002. I'm going to change the time to 60 so they don't last forever, and they do disappear. And then there we go, we can minimize all those. Then I'm going to add a property on this side. We're going to add 3 actually, 1 for each one, and we'll just join those all together. Then under here I'm going to select cartridge for all of them, and this one's when it's equal to 3, this one's when it's equal to 2, and this one when it's equal to 1. And there we go, minimize all those. Now one thing we need to do is we need all of these bullets to go off in a direction once they're spawned, so we'll need them going in the negative Y and positive Z axes, so off this way. So I'm going to turn down the Y, maybe -2, something around that, and I'm going to turn up the Z, something like that, and then we'll do that for the other 2 as well. So turn down the Y, turn up the Z, so something like that, just so it's a little bit more random. Then we're going to go into text mode, press 0 on the numpad, go into camera view, and we have to parent the spawner, so select the spawner, hold down shift, select the gun, press Ctrl P, parent them together, then press 0 and press P. And now if we hold down the gun, or hold down the trigger, you see bullets spawning, but they're the wrong way around. So I'm going to fix that by pressing RX90, and we'll try that again. Hold down the trigger and we don't see anything, possibly because we have back facing on. So until we get the orientation right, I'm going to turn that off. So now we'll try that again, and there we go, we have it slightly working. but it's spawning all over the place, so we need to select our gun, press Ctrl A and apply scale. I'll try it again, press P, and there we go. Now they're all a little bit big still, so I'm going to select all of them and press S to scale, and maybe do something like that. Then I'm going to bring the gun over here as well so we can see them a bit better. Press P, and they still appear to be sideways, so I'm going to press RZ90, and when you press P you'll notice that only one type of bullet is coming out. That's because the other ones have back facing selected. So to fix that, I'm going to press RZ180, and that will rotate it 180 degrees. Now if we press 0 and press P, there we go, there's all our cartridges. Again, way too big, so back to layer 2. We're going to select all of them, press S to scale, and back to layer 1, press P, and there we go. What we can do now is go back to layer 2, select the middle one here, and turn back facing back on, because we have it the right way around. One more thing we still have to do though, is if you press P, and you turn around, you'll notice the bullets start only going in one direction. So here on this side it's towards me, on the other side it's away from the gun, and that is because we haven't selected local here. So on our spawner here we need to select local for each one, like so, and then we also need to press RX90, and now press P, and it's going the opposite way, so RX180, and press enter. Now if we press P, there we go, it's coming out the side, and also if we go to this side it still looks the same as if we do it on this side. So there you go guys, that's how to add bullet cartridges to your games in the Blender game engine. Hopefully you found it helpful. Any sort of likes or comments or shares are greatly appreciated. If you guys want the sort of renders from the bullets, they'll be in the download description, as well as this little demo here. But thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next one.